If you're just joining us this week in part 3, episode 53, we talked about the kind of messaging that actually makes selling easier at a higher level and how different that feels when everything is aligned. And then in the last episode, you heard me talk with my client, Catherine Schultz, about what that looked like in her business. One of the things I hope you took away from that conversation is that the solution wasn't simply rewriting a few emails or tweaking a few pages on her website. We actually had to step back and look at the bigger picture first. So what I want to do in this episode today is take you behind the scenes a little bit, because this isn't just about rewriting a few sections on your website or your sales page. It's actually a different process entirely. Welcome to Seven Figure Copy, the show where we refine your messaging so it reflects the level you're now operating at with clarity and confidence. I'm Gina Whitehouse, your expert conversion copywriter, and this podcast is for established, expert-led female business owners who know their work is exceptional but suspect their website and sales copy may be underselling the caliber of what they deliver. In each episode, we'll explore how strategic, ethical copy elevates your website, sales pages, and core messaging so your words communicate trust before someone ever books a consult or starts a conversation with you. If you're ready for a trusted partner who helps you clearly articulate what you do and why it matters, then you're in the right place. Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. My name is Gina Whitehouse. I'm your messaging strategist, your expert conversion copywriter, and host of the Seven Figure Copy podcast. So at the point in this 6-part series, you might be starting to see where your messaging isn't fully aligned with your business anymore. And before we go deeper today, I want to make sure that you've listened to the private audio podcast I have for you titled, What I Notice Immediately When I Look at a High-Level Business's Messaging That I Don't Say Publicly. It's going to give you a completely different lens as you listen to this episode. So grab the link in the show notes or go to www.whitehousesm.com/private podcast. So most people think that recalibrating your messaging starts with asking, well, what should I say? Or how do I make this sound better? But that's actually not where this starts. Why? Because by the time you're asking those questions, you're already trying to fix something that hasn't been fully defined yet. And that is why so many copy fixes just don't work anymore, okay? It's because the messaging underneath your business, it hasn't been recalibrated to where you are now. So today I want to talk about the 4 stages I would go through if I were to recalibrate your messaging for your business. And that first step is what I call phase 1, and it's just taking a step back. So the first thing that has to happen is you need to step back before you even touch the copy, okay? We would look at where your business is now. That's the first thing. The second thing I would look at is who are you actually trying to attract at the level that your business is at now? And the third thing we'd want to look at together is how your offers have evolved over time. Because if those 3 things are not clear, then a quick copy fix is just not going to work. It's not going to fix it. So this is usually where the process would start with me. Okay. We would get on a 30-minute call, what I like to call the 30-minute complimentary copy chat. And we look at what's happening in your business right now. Like we're going to discuss things like what feels off, where things in your business are not converting the way they should or how you want it to, and where your foundational messaging may not be fully aligned anymore with the level you're operating at now. So this is where usually I start to see things click for clients that I work with, because we're not just looking at the words on the page. That's very surface level. No, we're looking at what's actually happening in your sales process. We're looking at where are people getting stuck, What conversations are you having over and over when you get on sales calls with people or when you just interact with people who are interested in what you have to offer? And we also want to talk about where there may be a disconnect between how you actually see your work and how it's currently being communicated. So this is the first phase. It's just taking a step back and looking at it at a macro level and then digging a little and more into it at the micro level to see where people are getting stuck. The second phase is what I call phase 2, recalibrating the message. So from there, where we were, we now decide how to move forward together. And sometimes that means going deeper into your messaging first, which means really recalibrating how your work is positioned at the level that you're working at now. This is the part that a lot of people try to skip because there's some research that happens here. There's a bit of digging, okay? It's not just as straightforward as rewriting a headline on your homepage or your sales page. It's actually refining how everything fits together. Like we're looking at what the offer actually is, who it's for, and how it should be communicated now that your business has grown, it's evolved, it's changed, and perhaps your ideal client or customer, the person you want to buy from you, has changed from where you were when you started your business to where you are now. So once we get clear on these things, everything else starts to get easier and now fit better together. If you've ever thought, my business has evolved, but my website still feels pieced together, or my expertise is strong, but my messaging doesn't reflect the level I operate at, I want you to know right now that you're not alone. Every established business owner reaches this point where your growth just outpaces your message. And when your message doesn't match the offer or the service you provide now, it costs you credibility, clarity, and premium opportunities. So I'm here today to tell you that I want to help you go from second guessing how you're presenting your offers and expertise to showing up online with messaging that feels cohesive and aligned with the caliber of your work. Today, I'm inviting you to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat with me to determine whether you need a strategic copy audit or high converting done for you copy that finally reflects the level you're operating at. Go to the show notes today to book your call or visit www.whitehousesm.com. The next phase is phase 3, and that's where we dig into the research. So this is where my process is a little different from other marketers, other general copywriters, other messaging strategists, because before I write anything, I go and I do the research. When I say that, what I want you to know is that we're not just going to guess what your target audience is thinking. We're actually going to talk to them. And what I mean by that is I'm going to interview your most happiest clients and customers, the ones who have already said yes and understand really what made them move forward. I want to personally know what they were thinking before they found you, your product, your service, or your offer. I want to know what stood out to them. I want to know maybe what were some things that held them back in the beginning. And I want to know how they describe the problem that they have that your offer will solve in their own words, because that is where the real clarity comes from. It doesn't come from trying to come up with better phrasing, but it comes from understanding how your buyer is actually thinking. And at this level, that's what makes the difference between messaging that sounds good and messaging that actually converts. So then we move into phase 4, which is the writing and the refinement. So once we're clear on the information we're getting from phase 3, which is what their problem is in their own words, the things that they were struggling with before they said yes to your offer and how it changed them. Once we're clear on those things, then the writing itself becomes much more straightforward and honestly, so much easier. It really is so much easier when we've dug in and done that research, because now we're not guessing, right? We're not trying to sound right. We're communicating something that's already aligned. And that's also why this revision process feels different, because we're not starting from scratch anymore, right? We're not going around in circles. We're actually refining something that's already grounding in strategy and real insight. And that's what we want. We want the real insight. We want the real gold nuggets, those actual phrases and language that your happiest clients and customers are saying. And we're going to use that now to actually build the copy on top of the now recalibrated foundational messaging that you'll have for your business at the level you're working at now. This is the copy and the messaging that is going to work differently for you, that you're actually going to see start to convert for you in the way that you want it to work and convert. And, I really think that this part is the part that a lot of people underestimate, okay? When you've gone through the process, when you've gone through these 4 phases, the actual copy that you'll walk away with, it's not something that you're just going to use once, okay? This investment that you put into the recalibration, aligning your business to where it is now through your messaging and your copy, it becomes an asset in your business, right? Because it's something you can now pull from for your website, to update your website, to rewrite any sales pages you need, to write your emails for any upcoming launches you have, or just your weekly emails that you're sending to your list. And you can use it in all kinds of content, whether it's blog content or social media content. It just keeps working for you, and it continues to support how you're going to sell over time. And the best thing about this is that the copy that you get after we have worked together, it becomes an asset that continues to generate revenue for you over and over again. Why? Because it's directly tied to how your business generates revenue, right? So this is not an expense. It's actually something that produces a return for you. So as I close here, when we talk about recalibrating your messaging at this level, it is not about rewriting. It's not about making tweaks. I always like to talk about it as the hamster wheel you're on that just keeps going on and on, or the maze that you're finding yourself through, where you're getting lost after night, right? Where you're sitting and you're making these tweaks on your sales pages and your website because you think maybe this is a thing that's going to turn people around, or this is the thing that's going to turn it around and get people to start buying from you. No, it's not about staying in that place. It's really about realigning what your business is built on and then communicating that clearly to your target audience. So now that I've walked you through these 4 phases that I go through when I recalibrate a client's messaging, in the next episode, I want to talk to you about what it actually looks like to get support with this and how to know when you've reached the point where bringing someone in to partner with you for this recalibration actually makes sense. So lastly, before we go, if you're already at the place where you're like, Gina, I know this is what I need, but I just need to make sure, I want you to schedule a 30-minute complimentary copy chat with me. And it's a simple thing to do. We are just going to have a discussion about what's going on in your business right now, and maybe some of the walls you're coming up against, what challenges you're having, what struggles, and we can determine whether you need to recalibrate your messaging and that's it, or if you need to possibly do that and rewrite the copy for your website, for your sales pages, for any offers that you have, so that it's actually matching your expertise, the caliber of what you deliver, and where your business is at today. So if that's you and you already know that you need to have a conversation about this, you can go to the show notes and the link is there to set up a 30-minute call with me, or you can go to my website, www.whitehousesm.com, and you'll see a button up there in the top right to book a call with me. So I look forward to talking to you. And if you haven't listened to the private podcast, I want to remind you that we have that. It's called What I Notice Immediately When I Look at a High-Level Business's Messaging that I don't say publicly. And I like to say that part, what I don't say publicly, because I'm just very clear in that podcast episode, very straightforward, what I'm looking at when I land on someone's website, like a homepage or a sales page, what I can notice immediately that is off. Okay. So we dig a little further into that episode. So if you want to grab that episode and listen, you can, again, go to the show notes or go to www.whitehousesm.com/private podcast. All right. Thank you for joining me this week, and we'll see you next week for the last part in our 6-part series. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on this episode of 7-Figure Copy. If this conversation resonated and you know that your messaging, that your copy is not matching the caliber of the wonderful work that you do, then please reach out to me at whitehousesm.com to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat. Let's see if we're the right fit for each other and if I'm the right conversion copywriter for you. And I'll see you next time.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at mike@cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.